Oh Lord, I was trying to go live on Zoom. I was trying to go live on my computer. It was not working out for me at all today. Technical, complete difficulties. So we're just gonna go live here on my personal page because apparently that's what the universe wants, and I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna fight any more tech difficulties. Anyways, let's make sure we're live because I haven't been for the past 3 times. I've been trying to go live. So yeah, I'm here now. And my name is Sarah Prophet. If you're on the replay, please say hi and let me know that you're on the replay. And yeah, I'm excited to offer this class. It was supposed to be on Zoom, but I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what is going on? And I don't know. Anyways, let's just do the class here. So before I do any classes, I like to make sure that everybody's heart is open. So if you're on the replay, this will work for you too. We're just gonna drop right into our heart, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about the chakras and all about the 8th through 12th chakras and how they correlate to the physical body. Hey Lynn, major technical difficulties, Lynn, so I'm doing it on Facebook. I just got Zoom, and so I gotta work on that. Whew. So take a few deep breaths. We're just gonna drop right into our heart space. So before any call, I like to do this, drop right into my heart space, like a class that I'm about to teach. I don't do it for live videos, but okay. This is gonna open you up. If you don't know anything about the higher chakras, this is gonna open you up to a lot of information, and I'm gonna be throwing a lot of information at you. So I have notes over here, so if you see me looking over, I have 4 pages of notes because I really don't want to miss anything. So let's get started. My name is Sarah Prophet, and I am an energy specialist. I work with energy, I read energy, and then I show you how to heal it yourself. That's my specialty. I don't heal anybody, but I do call myself an energy healer because I teach you how to heal your own energy. And in doing that, I usually, for the most part, work in chakras 8 through 12. I'll do simple energy cleanses with 1 through 7, but if you're working one-on-one with me or in the shadow group that we're doing, we're gonna be working in the higher vibration, higher frequency chakras, which is 8 through 11, and then 12 is a little bit different, but I'll explain that. So all our chakras hold everything that has happened, that is happening, and that's going to happen. All of our chakras, so 1 through 7, 1 through 12, they all hold our past, our present, and our future. And these centers, these centers not only regulate our mind and our soul, but they also regulate our physical body. So with the chakras 1 through 7 being located on the physical body, that's what they control. And each center communicates with the other, and within that communication, they are always translating the language of each other. So chakras 1 through 7, chakras 1 through 12, the actual system is actually more than that, but we're just gonna be going up to 12 today. And they all have a different language. So each chakra that is communicated, so we have 12 chakras, they all have a different language. And the cool thing about that is when they're in alignment, when they're in balance, they can send their message, the next chakra can then transmute the message, and after that, they can understand what they're trying to figure out between each other, which is really cool. Each affects our purpose in a different way, so we need all of our chakras functioning in alignment and balance for us to move towards our purpose. And the chakras are divided into 3 groups. So this includes all of them, 1 through 12. They're the physical, the personal, and the spiritual. So our lower chakras, which is usually anything below the throat, is gonna be our physical. And we know that through the correlation of the physical body and chakras 1 through 7, I've talked about that a million times, and it's actually on my podcast. So if you're interested, I have all the way up to solar plexus. The heart chakra will be coming out this week. And they are, the personal is usually our third eye, our crown, and then the eighth chakra, which is right above the crown. And then all the rest are going to be our spiritual. And so we have these kind of three bodies of chakras and what they mean, and we can kind of start to see the correlations. Once I start talking about it, you'll start to see, oh, okay. So the chakras, the lower seven, they meld into the physical body. They're actually located on the physical body. And working with them, you can see the biggest changes in the physical body. So when you work through chakras 1 through 7, you can see immediate shifts and changes within the physical body. For example, if you are having digestive problems, which usually means your solar plexus is out of alignment, when you start to feel more worthy, when you start to feel like you are enough, all of these worthiness wounds are located in our solar plexus, you actually begin to help your digestive system move. And that's a really cool thing about the chakras. We can kind of guide these physical chakras with food and exercise and all sorts of things. The 8 through 12 chakras, they don't have as much of a connection as the physical body, although they do a little bit, but not as much as 1 through 7. The higher chakras hold not only our physical changes, but they also hold the energy of the ethers. They hold a lot of energy. They hold universal energy, unlike the chakras that are located in our physical body. They're not as compounded in that celestial energy as much as these higher vibration chakras are. I'm just reminding you guys, I have like a full notes and I don't want to forget anything. So I keep looking over. It's literally all written out because I want to make this as streamlined as possible and not go everywhere. So the higher chakras, they also are elemental. So they have fire, water, air, and earth. And then these combine to form the 6 elements. We have wood, metal, stone, ether, light, and star. So they combine these elements so that we can make all of the other elements. And these higher chakras are what connect us to higher frequencies. So when we're feeling kind of like low vibration and a low frequency, that's because we're not working with the chakras that are outside of our body, because those are the ones that are connected to our soul work, to our purpose. And those are the chakras that are connected to magic and manifestation. So if you're kind of like, if you follow Abraham Hicks, or if you follow people that talk about the vortex and kind of like being in your vibration and high vibration, they are actually referring to the higher chakras. They're not referring to chakras 1 through 7. So if you're just currently studying chakras 1 through 7, I encourage you, this will also tell you a lot of information, this video, of the higher chakras, which will be used when you're manifesting and working with magic. Because when working with magic, and whatever kind of magic you have in manifestation, we're not working with our own physical body, we're working outside of ourselves. And we often do use that with energy healing. So Reiki uses, you're never using your energy, you're using the universal energy. This is the same with the chakras. So the first chakra that we're going to be talking about is the 8th chakra. Okay, you guys, this is a lot of fucking information. I'm just going to tell you, like, none of this is my opinion. This is all researched information. So there's some conflicting evidence about the names of these chakras. I do not label them with names, although you can, and they have names. There's conflicting research, so we're just gonna go with the numbers because I feel more comfortable sharing with you the 8th chakra through the 12th rather than labeling them and then having that label stuck. Please excuse the vulgarity. Have you heard my mouth? So have a breakthrough. I seemed, yes, because you are literally removing, before I go into the 8th chakra, when you are having these massive breakthroughs, because Lynn, TBI, the same. Because when you're having these massive breakthroughs and you're literally, I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with meditation where you're like sending light down your body. Well, you're detoxifying. And so when you are getting rid of toxic numbers, rule universal language. Exactly, Gar. Like, Exactly. So when you're detoxifying, even energetically, your physical body is going to react to that. And we call that purging, actually. And so it happens if you've ever done ayahuasca, or if you've ever done frog medicine, whether that be Cambo or some other type of medicine. A lot of animal and plant medicine, especially psychedelics and DMT, all those types of things. The first thing that happens when you take them, even mushrooms, is you purge, you throw up. Sometimes with Cambo, you throw up and you shit everywhere. So because you're actually purging all of these toxins. So yeah, that I totally see that. And that happens to me too. And anytime I've taken any animal or plant medicine, I'm always fucking throwing up. Always. And it's like a weird throw up. It literally smells and has like the texture of like tarish. Because I really truly believe it's just an energetic toxicity coming out, because usually I fast before I do any of those things, so I know there's no food in there per se. And I don't know, this is getting really detailed, you guys, but our physical body really does tell us what the energetic body is. When you go, I'm curious, you don't have to answer this, but just for yourself, look at the difference between your normal bowel movement and the bowel movement where you've had these massive shifts, and I guarantee that they're gonna look different. And this is a really good way to read your energy, because this is a toxic waste coming out of us. It's the same thing with women when we have our menstrual cycle. The type of blood that comes out is usually a determination of a lot of things, but sometimes it's energetic. And that's another good read. All of these are saliva, all of these physical attributes that we have actually tell us very detailed information about our energetic body, which is why I really wanted to talk about chakras 8 through 12, because it even goes even further than that and really expands on this concept of the soul body and how that translates to our physical body. So our 8th chakra is about 1.5 inches from our head. So our crown is right here on top of our head, and the 8th chakra sits right about here. So mine is right about there. And if you can read energy, or you can feel energy, maybe you're empathetic to energy, or you just know how to work with energy, you can actually kind of hold your hand right at the top and you can start to feel the energy. If you start to kind of expand and move up, you'll start to feel kind of a resistance. If you're not super sensitive to energy, you might not feel it right away, but just meditating and putting your hand there, you'll start to feel some like tingling energy coming up and then out. This is a flat energy center. So unlike the chakras in our physical body, which all look the same, it's kind of rotating tornadoes, the energy centers that sit on the outside of our body don't look like that. This is a flat shape. Now, if you're an empath, please listen up, because this is going to really give you some insight that I think, if you haven't heard of these chakras, is really going to help you. So this chakra that sits right above the 8th chakra is actually black in color when it is unbalanced. Now, you guys are gonna think this is really cool, and if you don't, I'm gonna feel really bad, because I think it's super cool. So black is what? Like the reflection of all colors, right? Like black, as we know, is the reflection of all colors, right? And the cool thing about an unbalanced 8th chakra is it turns black, because you're actually getting everybody else's energy. So if you're an empath, this is where the energy is going. That's why you feel so exhausted and drained when people are pulling towards your energy, because it's actively pulling towards your 8th chakra, which is right above your crown, which is like the essence of ourselves. And so when it's silver or ultraviolet, lacking light, then what happens is you're lacking other people's energy, which is great. We don't want to have everybody's junk all up in our energy. And so that's a cool way to see which kind of what is going on. So this chakra holds the portal for the time-space continuum. This is kind of where time goes out the window and doesn't exist anymore. This is also where our Akashic records are stored, our book of shadows is stored, our book of life is stored. That's weird. I've never had that before. Someone trying to like come on the video. I've never had that. So this is where all your books of what has seen, done, and said, they're all recorded within the 8th chakra. So if you're working in the Akashic records at all, if you're a healer or you just have done some Akashic record work, or maybe you've had someone read yours, they're reading the 8th chakra. So it's really, really good information and a really good idea to learn what the 8th chakra is and how it relates to you. Now, when you're having all these books and you're having them choked up by other people's energy, guess what? It's really hard to attain information. So if you're an empath and you're trying to move forward in life, but you're feeling kind of weighed down by other people's energies, this is why. And this is why you can't reach your purpose, because you're constantly doing for other people and they're kind of constantly sending your energy. And we're going to talk about some boundary work. So I'm going to talk about how to kind of like combat that for you. So we can gain anything and everything in these books about our past and the past of others. So if you read Akashic records for other people, this is where you're going in the 8th chakra. It's also a great place, like I said, to go into the Book of Shadows. So if you've never heard the Book of Shadows, it's the What Would Have Been book. And the What Would Have Been book is a cool book to go in. It's actually the shadow book of the Akashic records. So the Akashic records hold all of our information from our past lives, present, and future. And the shadow is what would have happened if we would have taken that path. What would have happened if we would have stayed with that person, or if we would have kept that job, or if we would have went to college? What would have happened? Now you might be thinking, why do I need to know what would have happened? Shouldn't we just let it go? Well, sometimes we can't, and regret sucks, man, regretting something. So if we can see what would have happened, and maybe most likely 100% I'm gonna say, you're gonna say, I'm glad I chose the other path. But it's a good way to work through regret or guilt around some things. Also a good way to work through abusive relationships. This is what I used to get through kind of my own abusive relationship back in my early 20s. I went into the Book of Shadows and I looked to see what would have happened if I would have stayed with this person. And it was really fucking ugly. But it was a good reminder that I did make a good choice. And I know I did, but it was just like, what would have happened? And that's what the Book of Shadows is. So it's just like to get rid of the woulda, coulda, shouldas. You go into the Book of Shadows. The Book of Life is different. So we have the Akashic records, the Book of Shadows, and then the Book of Life. The Book of Life is pretty cool. It's actually a book of all of our experiences, past, present, and future. But if we looked at it through a glass half full, rose-colored glasses, that would be the Book of Life. So for example, maybe you spilt your last half a cup of coffee, right? You were like drinking coffee and you spilt half of it. Your reaction in the Book of Life would be, oh, well, at least I only spilt half and I got the other half to drink, right? So it's always looking at the positive. That's what the Book of Life does. And why do we need the Book of Life? Because sometimes, man, you need to go into your past and you need to look at the positive, because there are some shitty things that happen. But usually if you go into the Book of Life, you can see why it kind of did the thing that it did. By the way, the 8th chakra is probably, I have the most information about, so the other ones won't be this long, I promise, but it is a lot of information. So the chakra that we use mostly when working with our shadow self is the 8th chakra, because when we're working with our shadow self, we're really wanting to see everything, and we're wanting to be grounded when we're working in the shadow, but we're also wanting to see like what would have happened. Or this is also the chakra that holds our cords. So if you have, if you've ever heard of cord cutting, most often than not, you're gonna cord cut from your heart, especially for a relationship. But cord cutting is not actually connected to your cords, because they are ethereal cords. So they're attached to the outside of us, which is the 8th chakra here. We feel them on a physical level because they're actually attached to our soul body, not our body here, right? it's not like a taser gun where somebody tasers you and now y'all are connected. Like, obviously not. So the cords are connected on a soul level, or soul is also read on the physical body. But if you're gonna cut cords or someone is cutting them for you, please make sure they're working in the 8th chakra, because you need to remove this cord from your Akashic records, from your book of shadows, from your book of life. It attaches to fucking everything. Especially if you have one of those toxic, like, energy sucker people that are attached to you, it's so important to make sure you're doing the work in the higher vibration, higher chakras, so that it, like, you get rid of it. And this 8th chakra, the reason why we use it in the shadow is because it holds all of our patterns. It holds our good patterns and our bad patterns. The one where you keep going for the shitty toxic guys or girls, that's where that's held, is in the 8th chakra. So if you're noticing these patterns kind of going around about you, or if you're noticing like, I do a lot of late night eating and I think that I keep doing it out of habit and out of a pattern, well, it's time to work in the 8th chakra. We clear patterns in the Akashic records and in the 8th chakra, because if we don't and we're just clearing them here, they don't get cleared on the soul level, which means that you're bringing them over into every lifetime. This is also a good chakra to tap in when you really want to heal chronic pain. This is one of the chakras that I recommend when someone comes to me. Thank you. When someone comes to me and wants to heal chronic pain, I really recommend that we start working in the 8th chakra. We start working in the Akashic records. We start really diving into the past. Not because, remember, chronic pain and chronic conditions are passed down through our ancestors, oftentimes, even if it's a new condition. Awesome. I'm really so happy that you needed to know this. And so if we're not healing on this on a soul level, and we're just healing it in the physical body, this chronic pain, what happens is we get flare-ups, or we get reoccurring or something similar of it, and then our children get it, which is why the fucking shadow work and why this work in these higher vibration, higher chakras is so important, because we need to be healing not only for ourselves on a soul level, but we need to heal it on a soul level so that we can stop this ancestral bullshit that keeps going on. All of it. I'm talking all of it, not just about health problems, but about all the things, all these negative things that we're carrying over like decades and centuries over and over again through our linear line. This could be alcoholism. Maybe your great-great-grandfather made moonshine or produced vodka or whatever, or maybe and so now your family has this line of alcoholism or drug use, because addictions are held in the 8th and 9th chakra as well. So we have to remember, we need to heal this stuff on a soul level so it's not being brought over generation after generation. And so how do we know when this 8th chakra is out of balance? Like, how do we actually know? Because you might be saying, okay, you gave all this fucking information to me, but I don't actually know any of that. So how am I going to know it's out of balance? Well, you can go to an energy specialist and they can tell you, hey, your 8th chakra is out of whack. Or you can look at your physical symptoms, because like I said, all of your chakras, 1 through 12, will be correlated within the physical body. And so the physical, one of the main, because this is a time-space continuum in the 8th chakra, so one of the main physical symptoms in this realm is not having enough time. So if you are always if you have this like chronic condition basically of saying like, I don't have enough time to do this, I don't have time to do that, I don't have time, I'm always late, I'm always running behind, I just feel like I don't have enough time. Anybody? That's your 8th chakra being out of balance, because in reality, there's always enough time, you're always on time. And it's more of a priority thing if you're not getting to places on time, but everybody has the same amount of time in the day, and so it's learning how to delegate our task and do all of these things. There's methods and there's methodologies to doing this, but one of the things is, not if you have that kind of like feeling, well, 1, you should do some shadow work, but 2 is really working in the 8th chakra. Chronic conditions, problems, and pain are located in the 8th chakra, and that's how you can tell that you're out of balance. There are physical chakras that will also tell you if you're out of balance, but this 8th chakra really holds chronic pain, because chronic pain oftentimes chronic conditions are produced because of stress or emotional imbalances. Not all the time, but oftentimes. And so when you're constantly in this fight or flight, you're going to have this chronic stress. And in this 8th chakra, that's how we're going to know that it's out of alignment. And so any past issues in your past life, this chakra, like I said, is also really, really important for empaths to be clearing and to be balancing constantly, because this is the chakra that takes all of those energies. And I think that I know a couple, I am not an empath, just so you guys know. I don't identify as that. I definitely can see, read, feel everybody's energy, but I don't identify as that because I don't need to be a martyr or a victim to anybody else's shit going on. And so you learn how to protect yourself. And one of the protections is learning how to shift this 8th chakra so that you're not being the absorption, but you're rather a reflection of other people's energy. So people can send energy to you, it can be transmuted and reflected back, and you're not going to hold it in your energy centers. So one of the things that you can do that's really, really, really simple and easy for the 8th chakra is really meditating on where it is. It's located about 1.5 inches, and really meditating on that black color that's above there and trying to shift it within your meditation to an ultraviolet color, to a lighter color, to like white, and trying to send white light to that to balance it out. Visualizing color changing is a really, really good way to shift a lot of things in your life. But another thing is also shifting away from addictive behaviors and focusing on really deconstructing addictions. If you're addicted to substances, I recommend that you go find someone to help you with substance abuse. But if you're addicted to things that you know are kind of like, maybe you're addicted to eating chips or something that you can kind of do on your own, then working with this chakra will help you deconstruct these behaviors so that you can create a new identity, because that is what we're doing. We're creating an identity so that we're moving always towards our purpose. The 9th chakra, I promise they're not all going to be that long. So the 9th chakra is the soul chakra. Like I said, I don't have names for them, but that's what I call them, is the soul chakra. This one, it's golden color, which I love gold, it's my favorite color. And it's shaped like a mushroom. And the cool thing is that, like mushrooms, so if you guys, mushrooms are kind of like, they have like little fingerprints, they all look different. And so we all have fingerprints. And so our 9th chakra is shaped like a mushroom, and everybody's mushroom looks different. And it's located about, it's located above the 8th chakra. So it'll sit like, I don't know, about 1 foot on top of you, and you'll see that kind of like mushroom shape, and it all looks different. So it kind of, it's like, yeah, it's like a mushroom shape. I don't know how to explain it. Something else to explain. So I really like this particular chakra, the 9th chakra. I work a lot in the souls when I work with clients, and in this group that we have for the shadow group, we're working a lot with soul work. We're going really, really deep. And the really cool thing is practitioners and counselors who use this technique that are using the teachings of Carl Jung, the psychologist, one of my favorite psychologists, they're often working and using this chakra with unknowingly, maybe they know about it, because it's working within the soul. And Carl Jung, if you don't know, is a huge fucking advocate for working with the shadow. A lot of his work is devoted. He was actually the first person who came up with the shadow self. And we may have heard it around other people, but he was the first one to coin that term, the shadow self, in the kind of world we live in today. Although we've been working with the shadow self for thousands of years, it wasn't coined under kind of like, I would say like in the United States, in the Western world, it wasn't really worked and used upon until Carl Jung kind of came into the scene. But like I said, it's been used for thousands of years with other people. So oftentimes when you're working with the shadow, you're working with the soul. And this work is like a physical body, but instead of holding our like physical DNA, like we have in our physical body, it holds our soul genes, our soul DNA, which is why I always say that if you want to change something, you need to change it on a soul level, not just a physical DNA level, because it's still going to be attached in that soul level, because our soul body needs to feel the effects first then it will trickle down into our physical body. So this chakra holds the programs we have regarding our physical body, emotional, mental, and mental belief systems. And it's like the skeleton of our soul. So it sits, I always imagine it, especially when I'm working with people, I like to imagine what their ninth chakra looks like and kind of like what it's holding on to. And I imagine this kind of like skeleton in the universe floating in a encapsulated with this beautiful like auric energy. That's what I imagine when I'm working with someone's soul skeleton. And I think it's just interesting, especially when I'm working on a person on this really soul level. Thanks, Lynn. And so any changes to the soul skeleton is going to reflect in the changes in your physical body. This is also where we hold our life purpose. So if you're really trying to figure out which path you need to go to and where you need to journey to, this ninth chakra is where you really need to dive in, because when we're diving into our purpose here in this realm, this physical earth, we have to remember that that purpose has already been laid out in our soul. So if we can tap into the soul, then we can find our soul's purpose, but really our life's purpose here in this lifetime. And so a really cool thing about the soul body is all healing must pass the soul body before it can lock in and pass to the physical. Hey Laura, I'm glad you made it. I don't know what was going on with Zoom. I couldn't get on there, and I don't use it that much. I'm not like, I work with energy. I'm not like I'm technical, but sometimes I just am like, I'm not worried about it. So in order for this healing, if you're healing your physical body in any way, you need to be working with your soul as well. So if you're just trying to like eat right, exercise, and take the medication your doctor says, and you're not doing any inner work, yes, you might see some changes, but you're not going to see this lock in of like, I had this epiphany and now my whole life has changed. That's not going to happen if you're not working on the soul level. And so this soul and the karmic lessons are also held in the ninth chakra. So if you're feeling yourself having to go through some karmic lessons, this is where they're headed. This is where they are. The karmic lessons, a lot of people think are held in our Akashic records, but they're not. The lessons are actually held in the ninth chakra. So we can see what might happen in the present moment, and then also in the future in our Akashic records and in the eighth chakra, but we won't actually see the lessons we're learning unless we go into the ninth chakra. So we use this chakra also to tap into the soul, gain knowledge, and we use it to see if our soul is damaged in any way or needs healing. Now, I really want to expand on this word damage. Being damaged does not mean you're a damaged person. It means that you went through a battle, whatever that may have been, and your soul now needs to heal. It's the same when we cut cords. You're never gonna just cut a cord from somebody, when you're cutting cords from a relationship. You're gonna pull the root out, and just as when you pull a root out from the earth, it leaves a gaping hole. So it's really, really important that when you rip away from somebody, even if you don't know you're ripping the cords, you probably are if you've broken off with a family member pretty abruptly, or a relationship where you just got out of there, then you're still attached, but you ripped out the cord, which left you with a wound. And so this wound needs to be healed. So that's why I say damaged. I don't mean like you're a damaged goods or person. It just means that you had a wound that you haven't healed yet. And I think we can all relate to having some past experiences that we kind of haven't healed from yet, and that's okay. But to heal this on a soul level, ninth chakra, hands down, it'll be quick. It'll be like, you know, if you go to the doctor and or maybe you go wherever, like a healer or whatever, and they like do something like, you're done, you're healed, and you're like, what? That's it? That's all you had to do? And they're like, yeah, and then you leave and you feel better and you never think about it again. That's the ninth chakra work. 1 through 7 can be a little bit more like you're kind of trudging through the mud, which we all need to do. But once those get into alignment, 8 through 12 comes pretty quickly and easy. So we know when this chakra is out of balance, okay? If you work with people, you're a healer, you work in energies, anything like that, we know when it's out of balance when you're burning yourself out. When you keep giving and giving and giving and giving, even if you're not a healer, if you're a mother or you're a father or you're a best friend that just keeps giving and you aren't getting anything in return, you're going to burn out. And so oftentimes burnout looks different for everybody, but it also looks the same, that we gave too much of our energy and we didn't receive any in return. And so when that happens, that's how you know that ninth chakra is out of balance, when you just want to give, even though you're not receiving in return. And so how do we make it balanced? Well, there's a lot of ways, but one of the main things is really working with your shadow self and really diving into, why do I keep giving? Do I not feel like I'm worth the exchange? What's going on? That's the ninth chakra. So 10th chakra. I hope you guys all know by now I love grounding. 10th chakra is the ultimate grounding chakra. The 10th chakra is a soul grounding. So root chakra, we all know, if we're aware of the chakras, the root chakra is sitting at the right of the base of the spine. It grounds our physical body. Makes sense, it's on our body. The 10th chakra is actually, it's like earth tones, so whatever green, browns, tans, associated with citrine, just kind of like these earthy crystals and earthy tones. And it's located about 1 to 4 feet under our feet, right? Grounding to the earth. And so this chakra, why the first chakra, our root chakra, grounds our physical body, this chakra grounds our soul. Why is it important for our soul to have an anchor? Let me explain something to you. When you are working to do astral travel, astral projection, if you are not grounded, this is what happens. So if your soul doesn't have an anchor, and it goes experimenting, does some astral travel, does some astral projection, and it starts to come back, and it realized, like a kite without a string, it does not know where to land. It doesn't know where to go. This is when people, this is kind of a crude thing to say, but when we say that people are soulless, because their 10th chakra is not grounded, and so they become soulless. This sometimes can look like someone just really not caring about anybody else, even themselves, or it can look like someone got lost in space. We've all seen that person. Maybe they're not functioning in society really well. Maybe they're kind of the crazy guy that sits on the side of the road and talks about aliens all the time. Like, while that might be true, there might be aliens everywhere, another thing that really is happening is that he's not grounded to this earth. And so I just say that because I've actually met people like that, and I'm like, oh my God, can I just help you ground in your 10th chakra? Can I just help your soul ground? Obviously, I'm not gonna go around helping everybody because I don't have the capacity for that, but this is a soul grounding chakra. So it's like our root chakra on steroids. That's the note that I put. And being grounded solely in the root chakra, it just really isn't enough. Especially if you're doing astral travel, astral projection, if you're working with others in the Akashic records, you need to make sure that you're grounded on a really soul level and you're anchoring in. That's really, really important. So, oftentimes people just think of grounding as walking around on the earth, meditating, grounding down, however you ground, but being grounded heightens your psychic abilities and helps you define and fulfill your purpose. Why do people not want to be grounded? Well, when we're grounded and we have heightened psychic abilities, that means that we have heightened intuition. That also means that we know what is best for us. And if we are struggling to move forward in our life and we aren't grounded, then what is happening is we don't know what's best for us. We don't know how to move forward. Again, shadow work. I can speak more highly about shadow work because it will heighten your psychic abilities. It will heighten what you know is to be your purpose. Grounded literally means to be fully attached to the earth. on a soul level and a physical level. So you need to be doing the root chakra work and the 10th chakra work. Just being aware of the 10th chakra will actually ground you down, because it's the same kind of grounding as you would with the root chakra. So like I said, ungrounded, so some symptoms of this chakra really being out of alignment are really similar to the symptoms of the root chakra being out of alignment or being unbalanced. You feel spacey and you feel unfocused. Another massive symptom for this is disassociation. So if you are feeling, oftentimes we disassociate away from our body to cope with triggers, past pain, or traumas. Disassociation is a really big thing in the trauma community. Because that's how we cope. We disassociate with our physical body. Sometimes if we are in a relationship that we're not really enjoying, we might disassociate during sex. Sometimes if we are at a job, we literally could work 8 hours and be completely disassociated, come home, and you have no idea what happened at work. You were there, you were doing your job, but you absolutely cannot recall anything. You disassociated because you're probably not happy in your job. And this disassociation is really, really bad to use as a coping mechanism. Disassociation, awesome when you want to do astral travel and projection. Really, really bad throughout your life, because you are a human being, you are 3D, and we need to be grounded to this earth. You are not, maybe you are, but majority of us are not alien beings sent from the earth and are sent from space. If we are, we're still in this human body. So we need to treat it as such. Another way you can look at this 10th chakra is that it's the earth's lungs. So you're getting to breathe in this balanced breath of the earth, and then you get to breathe out all of your toxins, which is just something really beautiful that you can kind of understand and know that the earth is really breathing for you. We know that because that's the oxygen it supplies us. So being grounded really is what will help you work through traumas and work through your shadow self. It's something that I recommend everybody do if you're trying to incorporate the shadow, if you're trying to work through any sort of pain or past experiences. Grounding through your root chakra and then grounding even deeper on a soul level into the 10th is the first thing that you need to do when you're working on anything. So when it's not balanced, the 10th chakra, because we're going to go into that, what does it look like when it's not balanced? You cannot handle stress. So anything that is out of the ordinary, you can't handle. It makes you completely crazy. Like very minor things will stress you out. Maybe you have to wait an extra 5 minutes in line. Maybe the checkout at the grocery store is extra long and you're getting stressed. Like if you can't change it, it's not really, there's no point in stressing. So if you're finding that it's hard for you to handle stress, 10th chakra. Also, you might be feeling very foggy brained, not a clear head, and it's hard for you to hold boundaries. These are also very physical symptoms of a 10th chakra being out of balance. So the really important thing to remember with the 10th chakra, because like I said, these upper chakras hold all the cords, they hold our psychic abilities, especially with when we're really grounded, we can kind of heighten in these psychic abilities. The 10th chakra is where you're going to experience psychic attacks. How do we know we're being psychic attacked? Well, there's a lot of physical symptoms that can happen. The majority of us are probably not going to experience any sort of psychic attacks, and you definitely won't experience any of that if you're really, really grounded and you're working within these chakras. You're not going to experience psychic attacks. And they're really, really hard. Like for you to attack someone psychically and then have it translate into a physical something, you got to put a lot of work. It's like hexing in, if you're doing like sort of witchcraft or something, it's a lot of work. So you're probably not, but we don't want to be open to it if we can close it off and protect ourselves. So grounding down into the earth, you're able to kind of have the strength and the breath of the earth. So you're not going to have to experience any sort of attack. This one, in order to like complete our purpose here on this earth, spiritually or materially, we will need what this chakra holds. So we need it to be balanced. We need to, because the earth is where we get all of our material, could be money, could be, like I said, wood, stone, all of those things are held within the earth. It's what the earth makes and supplies us. So it's really important that we're grounded down within it. The cool thing about the 10th is it works with the 9th. They both work together, and they decide, this is a really cool side fact about this chakra, they decide which genes to bring into the world from your ancestors. So it looks at all of your ancestors' genes, and the 9th and the 10th, and before you even come onto this planet as a physical being, because remember, we're working on a soul level, it then constructs in your soul, and it takes all the genes from your ancestors, picks the best out, not just the best, but the best and what you will need during this purpose and path that you're on right now. So it's kind of like they choose and pick all the tools that you're gonna need, and they fill your tool belt so you're ready to go. You have everything you ever need to handle in this life. And the 9th and the 10th pick all of that out and put it all together for you, so that's in your soul, so that you always know exactly what to do in any situation. So that's kind of cool. When you start working the 9th and 10th, you can start to see what tools did you need throughout this life, what tools are you going to need. And they, just like we get to pick we don't get to pick, but our genes come together with our mom and dad side physically. We do the same thing with all of our ancestors on a soul level. So this is why I encourage this healing, this shadow work on a soul level, because then you won't be passing any sort of bad genes or genes that they may not need into the next. Hold on 1 second, okay? Sorry. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, picking out your genes. So that's really cool, right? And then this chakra also, which I don't know if Lynn's on here, she might come back, is it helps you dispose of waste from your physical body. So this grounding chakra actually helps dispose of waste and toxins from your physical and your auric body. So this is where we store our basic instincts, animal-like instincts closest to the earth, right? So all of that, those kind of like fight or flight, that's those instincts, the ones that we actually need, like when we see a bear, we need to run. Like we don't need to fight the bear, right? So that's a really cool thing about this chakra, is it actually holds these kind of protection mechanisms that we do need. Unlike the root chakra, which holds these fight or flight symptoms and these things that we got from maybe our mom or our dad that don't really serve us. So that's where that goes. This chakra keeps us locked in. Like I said, it's an anchor to the earth, and it's our soul's anchor. So we absolutely have to have it balanced because we need our soul grounded. So what do the physical symptoms, how do we know this is out of balance? Well, you can have feet and ankle problems. So if you're not grounded, you're gonna have swollen feet, you might have maybe twisted ankles all the time. Obviously you can trip and stuff, but if you're constantly kind of finding yourself tripping over your own feet, it could be that you're not grounded. And being grounded could be a lot of different things, but that's one of the things, is kind of having these symptoms and you don't know really where they're coming from. Also, another thing, because of fight or flight, adrenal problems. So if you're constantly in fight or flight, which, like I said, takes place in the root chakra, but also in the sacral for women and the solar plexus for men, you're gonna notice that this fight or flight is, if it's constantly going, like you're not seeing a bear, but your body feels that way, then you're gonna start to have adrenal problems, because you're literally bringing up the adrenaline and then shooting it back down, bringing it up, shooting it back down, like multiple times a day. When you are experiencing triggers or stressors that starts to pump out your heart rate, pumps your blood and gets your adrenals growing, which is great if you're running from a bear, not if your boss walks in and he just pisses you off so much. We don't need to have that response in our physical body. Another symptom of this chakra not being balanced is holding on to weight to make us feel safe. Working as a health coach before, I know that was a common thing with women, as that they actually were scared to let go of the weight because the weight made them feel safe. Maybe they thought that if they were skinnier, they wouldn't be as protected. And that's something to work through. But one of the things is working within this 10th chakra will really help you to feel safe no matter what you look like, no matter how much weight you hold. We don't need our weight in order to make us feel safe. We need to feel safe within the earth as it is. And that's oftentimes working through, the chakra is functioning, when the chakra is functioning well, it helps us work through childhood abuse and trauma, which I know holding weight usually comes from childhood. So this also could be just not wanting to be in the body that you're in. You constantly are trying to look for different ways to change who you are as a person on the physical side. This is not being grounded. So how do we get this balanced? Well, we need to heal it, and we need to heal all of those wounds from our past, which is done with shadow work. We also need to stay grounded. So you can stay grounded through eating certain foods, meditations, earthing, exercise, and diet. All of those things will help you with being grounded. And then there's a ton of other things that you can look up grounding, and you'll probably find 400 ways to ground down. But really, really balancing out this chakra is something that is really important. All right, so 11th chakra. Whoever's with me on this, you guys are awesome, because I know this is a lot of information, but I hope that you guys are getting something really cool out of this. So I call this chakra, the 11th chakra, the touch chakra, because it's what we use when we're healing. So if you're a healer, you use the 11th chakra all the time. We even can say doctors, nurses, counselors, energy healers, Reiki practitioners, they're all using the 11th chakra. So the 11th chakra looks like a pink film on our hands. And this is the energy system often being used when you're doing energetic healing. So I like this chakra because I use it all the time because I work with energy. So you can absorb negative and positive energies this way. And this can also be used to release blocks, resistance, and pain. So working with the 11th chakra is really what energy healers are using. One of the ways that I kind of like to test it and use it is with a protection bubble, because you can use it to protect yourself. Multiple ways, but we're just going to talk about one today. You can use it to shield yourself, protect yourself. So you can create an energy ball. And this is created by using the energy between your hands, this pink film that we have in our hands in the 11th chakra. The 11 chakras are also located in our feet, but I don't use my feet too much for healing. So you can rub your hands together like this, and then you can start to feel the energy ball coming together. So if you've ever done this exercise, and you can start to feel, a lot of different practices use this. So what I like to do is expand the energy ball out, think about what I want. I want protection, prosperity, and then I can actually I'm gonna send this out to everybody. So let's just do protection, prosperity, and healing, and we can just send it out, right? Or if I wanted to, I can expand that ball and then put it over me for protection. Which is a really good thing to do if you are practicing and working with other people in energies. If you're a healer, a doctor, or if you're touching people in any sort of way, so I call it the touch chakra. Please, please, please protect yourself. Always know that you can transmute energy. Always know you can put a protection field and still heal other people, but always put a protection field. So when we use this chakra, we use it to send and receive energy to others. So if you are doing distant healing, if you're doing any sort of distant work, especially with energy, you're going to be using this 11th chakra. And we can use it to absorb energy from the earth, which is one of my favorite ways to use it. If anybody does moon meditations or ceremonies, full moon, new moon ceremonies, or if you're working with the sun in any way or rain in any way, you're gonna absorb the energy from those things using this chakra, the 11th chakra. So let's say I'm working with a full moon. I'm gonna actually put my hands up so that they're facing towards the full moon, and I'm going to absorb the energy through my hands. Oftentimes, a lot of people will absorb it through their crown chakra, but remember that our higher chakras 8 through 12, hold a higher vibration. So when you're really doing magic and manifestation work, it's so important to use these higher chakras because they hold a higher vibration than our physical ones, because our physical ones only hold the vibration that we hold on a physical level. These chakras 8 through 12 hold the vibration of your soul, which is always going to vibrate higher than our physical body. So, mosquito. I can't believe I just killed that like one shot. Probably because I'm really focused on this energy. Absorbing negative energy. Guys, I'm pretty weird. All right, so where am I? Another way that you can use this, if you're not a healer and maybe you are, you can absorb other people's energy. So let's just clarify. We don't want to be absorbing just anybody's energy. Have you ever been around a person who you just feel and know is really, really powerful? And you're just like, oh, this person is so powerful because they're literally throwing their power at you. And oftentimes we may think like, I don't want that. I don't want, like, why are you bragging all the time? Let them brag. If they are actually truly holding their power, and they may not be bragging, but you may just like feel the essence of power. We can feel the essence of money. We can feel the essence of sadness. We can feel the essence of anger. We can feel all of these essences when we walk into the presence of somebody else. So if we're feeling this essence of this other person and they're sending it to us, hi. I love you.
Bye.
Bye. I'll see you in an hour. Cool. What is that?
It's bubbles.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's a little finger.
Look at.
That's kind of funny. Halloween, man. I love it. I wish I could show you all my house right now. Everything's decorated outside. Like, we are obsessed with Halloween. I love it. Where was I? Okay, yeah. We can absorb other people's energies. We can absorb anger. So you might think, why do I ever want to absorb anger? Some of us, myself not included, but I have some friends and people that I've worked with that are really soft-spoken. They never get angry about anything in the moment, and they kind of do want to get angry sometimes. They kind of want to be pissed off, but they don't like conflict. They find that being angry produces negative results, even if they're standing up for themselves and they're holding boundaries. Sometimes you have to be a little bit aggressive in these boundary holdings, and you need to be powerful and angry. These are all great emotions. Sadness is a good emotion. It's not a good emotion to get stuck in, but it is a good emotion to use. So if you notice that someone is really, really powerful, or they have these essence that you're kind of like, you can absorb it with the 11th chakra. And why do we want to absorb power? Because maybe if we have this really, like, I don't know, I've worked for some, and I've met some really badass women CEOs, and they are powerful as fuck, and they run massive businesses and bring in millions of dollars a year, and they're just these massive powerhouse of women. They send out their power because they want to have other women around them that are powerful too, and so they will send out their power. So the cool thing that you can do is you can absorb it and kind of store it in your body for later, and it'll kind of help you get that momentum going when you want to experience that emotion, even if it's sadness or anger. For a long time, it was hard for me to express my sadness. And that just came from childhood, whatever, I don't know, I know what it is, but I don't need to go into it, but right? And so it's hard for me to cry, it was hard for me to express sadness, it was hard for me just to kind of like express my emotion, period. And so I learned how to kind of suck the emotions from others, so I knew when it was safe and okay for me to be sad. Does that make sense? And then I could use the kind of like that energy to kind of like start to cultivate when it's okay for me to move through these emotions. And I can cry, I can scream, I can be upset, or I can be really, really happy and dancing. It doesn't matter, but I learned all of these ways I can move through those energies by using this 11th chakra and absorbing it through other people. So how do we know if the chakra's out of balance? Is if we have trouble accepting or receiving help. If you're always kind of saying, no, I got it, and then you're like stressing out and you're like, man, I really wish I would have taken that help. Probably 11th chakra out of balance. It's also when you're having a loss of energy, or when you're a loss of energy when you're doing energetic or psychic work. So if you're finding yourself feeling really, really drained after working with other people, this can be chakras out of balance. So another one, if you're really, really powerful at giving a lot of energy, or you're really powerful at sucking out a lot of energy, or you feel completely powerless, all of these can be signs of an out of balance of this chakra. So how do we get this chakra in balance? Well, one of the ways is just to really always be cleansing our hands and our feet after we're working with somebody. If you are a practitioner, I'm sure you've been told and you've been taught, one of the easiest ways to clear the energy in your hands and in your feet is water. You do not need sage, you do not need Palo Santo. Please actually try not to use those because they're being really overfarmed and it's just sad. Use pine, there's so many other things. Use what's local to you that you can actually cultivate and get. And I love sage, I love Palo Santo, but if you're gonna use it, please use it ceremonially and just try to make sure you're getting it from a solid, sustainable source. That was my PSA. But the easiest way to kind of cleanse the energy in your hands is with cold water. When I'm working with clients, if I'm working with a couple, kind of back to back, one of the things that I do is I cleanse my hands with water. So cold water, just cleansing your hands, you don't have to put any soap, and it's really, really will cleanse that 11th chakra. If you're noticing that you're kind of constantly having this draining problem, then again, it's another opportunity to do shadow work. Because this is the touch chakra, because we work with this chakra as healers, if you're a healer, then it's really, really important that when you're sending and receiving energy from others, you're doing it in a sustainable way for you. And oftentimes that comes from giving in childhood and not receiving. And so it's hard for you to receive. It's very easy for you to give, very easy for you to get burned out and drained, just like the 10th chakra. So I would encourage you to really do the shadow work, which is why I have the group program. We close in 7 days, by the way. Oh man, I hope that does not go. I don't die. Let's plug it in. Okay. There we go. So, last chakra, 12th chakra. This is about an hour long. This is really fucking informative, I'll tell you that. This 12th chakra is actually not one chakra. It is 32 points inside of our, between our physical body and our auric field. It's not located in the aura. So the aura is a totally separate entity than the 12th chakra, but the 12th chakra is located in the same field. So your aura is placed on the outside of your body, and then the auric field is where the aura is, where it is located. And so these points are located within the auric field and within the body, 32 points. I'm not going to tell you all where the 32 points are because that would take me a long time, but they're basically located in all of your internal organs and your physical body. You've got some in your up in your head area, your arms, kind of like your meridian points, but we have more meridian points than this 12th chakra and these 32 points. The really cool thing is they are also located within the spine. So I do some spinal healing. Our spine is 33 vertebrae, and this points are 32 points on the spine. So if you're wanting to do this 12th chakra healing, which is oftentimes what practitioners use when they're doing DNA activations, it's what I use when I do DNA activations. I use these 32 points within the spine to activate the soul level on a DNA, the soul DNA. And so just like the aura, the auric field protects us, It's a little bit different as it's connected to the body as well. So the aura is not connected to our body, right? It's on the outside of our body. It's not necessarily connected to our physical body, but the 12th chakra is connected to the auric field and our physical body. So that's what makes it a little bit different. The cool thing about this chakra is that it's not necessarily out of alignment or out of balance all the time. It's mostly reflects the imbalances of the chakras 1 through 7 and then 8 through 11. So you won't necessarily be able to pinpoint unless you go into these 32 points within the body or you work with them in the spine. The 32 points are within the body, and like a lot of Eastern medicine, you then have points that are located on the spine. So it's like working with your hands. We know that a lot of our internal organs are located, have, what do they call those? Like acupressure points on our hands or our feet or our legs or our head. Like we have points for all of the organs all over our body. This is how that works within the 12th chakra on the 32 points on your spine. So it's the same thing. It's kind of cool, I think, because we have 33 vertebrae and we have 32 chakras that are located on our spine. Whew, that was a lot. So if you got through that, I hope you did. But if you have any questions, I definitely am here to answer some questions. I absolutely love answering questions, but I do want to tell you guys that all of this type of education and training and really going deep into this energetic and spiritual level is going to happen in our shadow group. And you know, this group that we are holding the space for, Dana and I, is really special to us because it's what we did to really change our life. It's what we work in when we are working to change our clients' lives. And you know, we did a 2-hour workshop that kind of was the predecessor of this program. And we realized that just in 2 hours, the effect that happened, holy shit, the feedback that we've been getting is really, really incredible. We've had people have large lump sums of money come in that have totally changed careers, doubled their income. We have people that did the class that let go of a 10-year-old fear, that have totally changed their family dynamics, that were literally totally separated from their family, and the next day everybody came together and agreed upon something that they've been working on for years. So to tell you that this work, it really speaks for itself. And when I'm doing this work, this shadow work, it's all located in these chakras 8 through 12. I do not rarely do shadow work within chakras 1 through 7. That I do. And that's actually, we only work with chakras 1 through 7 when we were in the 2-hour training, okay? And we didn't work in the upper chakras. So if you think about it, like if we had those massive shifts and changes from working in the shadow just in our physical body, just in our physical chakras, imagine the shifts and change that are going to happen in the next 3 months when you're working in the upper chakras. Don't worry, in the shadow group program, we're going to be really focusing on grounding and how to really go to the next level when working with your shadow self. That's what this program is about, and I'm super excited for it. If this training, you guys got a lot from this training, if you're like, wow, this is a lot of information, I'm really stoked about this, let me know in the comments, please. But also, this is the type of training we're gonna be doing in this 3-month program. We're gonna be doing these twice a month, and with Dana and I, so it'll be 2 people. And we're also gonna be coming in weekly into the private community and doing additional little videos, meditations, things to really take up the training to the next level. We're gonna give full support for 3 months. You're gonna be in this private community. And guys, it's $333 to pay monthly, or you can pay $900 in full for 3 months to get a $100 discount. That's incredible to have that much given to you for such a really small price. I remember paying for the same thing thousands of dollars. And you know, for the same type of support when I was working through a lot of this stuff. And I don't think that money is a predecessor of like what we can do, but we wanted to make it really affordable, and we wanted to give this the option for everybody. So yeah, And we're gonna be really focusing on these types of trainings and really working deep into the shadow. I have people that we haven't even started, they've just signed up and they're already seeing massive shifts in their life just from signing up and hitting the button. So I encourage you that if you've been thinking about it, or if you're like, what is she talking about? This is kind of interesting. I encourage you to go over to the website. It's sarahpapa.com/women's group. I'm gonna actually put, the link in here so that if you, or if you're like, shit, this was so good and I definitely want to do this, link for cool. Okay, so if you're like, I definitely want to do this, then you can, can I pin this? I think I can pin it on here, right? No, I can't. Okay, I don't know how to do that, but I should probably edit it so that it's, okay, there we go. Link for Women's Shadow Group. So if you're like, wow, this was really interesting content, I really like this, I'm excited about this, this really kind of got me thinking and getting my blood boiling, and I'm kind of wondering how I can take it further, this is the next step. So if this really interests you, if you're like, I'm ready to heal my shit on a soul level, this is the next step. Also, I do have a couple of spots in my one-on-one practice that'll be starting in mid-October. So if you're like, I don't really like group settings and I want to work one-on-one, I have availability. I have 2 spots open for that as well. So if you're really wanting to take it up to a next level and you're not wanting to work in a group setting, you're wanting to just get full on one-on-one attention, I totally feel ya. I'm that way too. I like to work in a group and have one-on-one. That's also available to you. So let me know what you think about this. If you guys have any questions, please put them down in the video and I would love to answer them. Have an amazing Wednesday, and I hope that you guys had a really good training.